The police department didn't help. I've called every resource they have. They've been very aggressive towards me. You know how the police are towards African-American people like myself. I'm not going to tag them. They're...
Okay. So, and this is like, oh, dude, this is the... Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we have kind of a serious video, more serious than normal. We are going to be talking about J-Bay. I'm sure most of you know who that is, but if you don't, she got popular talking about fat people and traveling and how, you know, she had problems with flights and seats and all of that stuff. We'll post a clip or something like that just for those of you that might not know.
Did you know that more than 1 billion people in the world are plus size? That's roughly 13% of the population. And yet, many airlines still don't have clear policies in place to accommodate plus size passengers. That's why I've started a petition calling on the FAA to require every airline to have a clear customer size policy in place for plus size passengers. No one should have to endure the discomfort, embarrassment, and discrimination that often comes with being a plus size passenger trying to navigate air travel.
It doesn't seem like this is a terrible person and I like hate them or anything like that. That's definitely not how I feel. But at the same time, it definitely feels like it is a person that is coming from a very privileged position and a very narrow point of view and only looking at things of how it affects them and how that doesn't feel fair to them.
In guest rooms, lobbies, and common areas to accommodate different body sizes and types. Number 2 on the list, ensure beds with strong support and a higher weight capacity, along with providing reinforced chairs and wider bathroom facilities. Number 3, make elevators and hallways spacious to allow...
So that, I'm just like, okay. I don't know if she means like get rid of stuff that might be inside of elevators and hallways, but like, come on, you know, like if you're talking about widening or making an elevator bigger, it's not as simple as just make the elevator bigger. Like elevators are the size that they are. This is one that I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like that's clearly not possible. Like that you can't just widen a hallway. Like, again, if you're talking about maybe getting rid of some stuff that might be in the hallway that would make it hard for someone, I think that would make sense, especially if there are like rooms that are made to be inclusive. If like the walkway to that room is made to be spacious enough for someone, I understand that. But like widening a hallway and making elevators bigger, you can't just do that. This isn't Sims, you know. That's going to be millions and millions of dollars to do that.
By the time she let me reach the wheelchair and sit down, my lips were white. My oxygen levels had dropped and I almost fainted.
I think the craziest thing to me is that to be in that position where just walking down a jet bridge, which it might be the longest one you've ever seen, but none of those are insanely long, is causing you to a point where your lips are turning white and you can barely breathe. I don't understand how you don't see that happening to you and think to yourself, I really need to make a change because this is a life that I don't want to live. She's been in the public eye a lot of different reasons for that. But this most recent one has been definitely a lot more serious. She posted a video on this was on her Instagram it's this one right here, which we can't really listen to any of the audio because it's going to be copyrighted. It's like a Lady Gaga song that says, "You don't know how it feels," right? This is what it says over and over again. And in this video, it's her kind of crying in this car, doing a little bit of puking, I guess. And then her feet. And then that's her, we assume it's her boyfriend. Again, we don't know for sure, but that's kind of relevant to the situation. And then it's just all of this. Then now she's in the hospital. She's crying. You know, it's some very, obviously something very serious had happened. And she wrote quite a lengthy caption on this post. I can't really look at it per se because I am blocked, but we have basically the same caption that was posted on a GoFundMe that J-Bay started because of this whole situation. So let's go over that GoFundMe. This is the GoFundMe right here, and it goes on to say, "Trapped in a nightmare, disabled woman's fight for her life," right? And it goes on to say, "Thank you for taking the time to read my story. I need you to know the harsh truth behind everything you see. For far too long, I've been forced to hide my pain, burying secrets that nearly cost my life. I almost died from sepsis. In that moment of desperate clarity, I realized how fragile life truly is, and it's nothing short of a miracle that I'm here today. But surviving sepsis was only the beginning of my battle. For over a year and even longer in some ways, I've been fighting relentless trauma, isolation, and I was trapped in a controlling relationship that drained every part of me, leaving scars that run deep, both physically and emotionally. I was forced to mask my suffering while the public only saw fragments of my life that I no longer recognize as my own, right? And so a lot of this, obviously, it seems that she's talking about this relationship that she was in with this person that was her boyfriend at that time, where we've talked about this person before, right? And so again, it's never like definitely said this is the person that did this stuff, but from the context that you can kind of get out of this, that's what seems to be the case, right? Okay, going on, it says, after a harrowing hospital stay, I was discharged and placed in a hotel, a temporary refuge that barely shields me from the chaos behind closed doors. At 28, as a disabled person with no financial safety net and virtually no family to turn to, I now face the impossible task of rebuilding my shattered life. Every day is a struggle to reclaim my voice, to heal physically, mentally, and emotionally, and to piece together a future that feels safe and hopeful. I share all of this not for pity, but to be brutally honest about the cost of my journey and to ask for help during this critical moment. Your support, whether through donation, shares, or words of encouragement, will help me secure short-term housing, cover essential needs, and obtain the legal guidance I urgently require to hold those responsible for my abuse accountable. If you're willing to hear more, I'm ready to share the specifics of the terror and betrayal I've endured. Details that are as raw as they are painful. If you reach out to me privately, I refuse to let darkness that's haunted me remain hidden any longer. Every single bit of support matters. Every dollar, every kind word, every share of my story is a step towards reclaiming my life and shining a light on the injustices that I and the countless others has suffered in silence. Thank you for standing by me in battle. I promise that as I heal, I will continue to fight, not just for my own future, but for every voice that has been silenced by neglect. Together, we can build community of unwavering strength, hope, and justice. With all my gratitude and determination, Jay. She shares some photos that we're not going to show. And then, she's raised about $1,100 as of this post, right? And so obviously this is, and I want to make this clear, this is a very serious situation that she is dealing with. This is obviously, it is horrible if what is being implied actually happened, that's a horrible situation. And I am genuinely very sad for J-Bay for going through that. But with that being said, J-Bay has taken to not just posting this GoFundMe, but she has also been posting numerous stories on her Instagram that have gotten just basically more and more unhinged as the days have gone by. She has been taking a break for the past couple days, I believe. But up until that point, there has been a lot that has gone on. And so we're going to be going over those videos. We were able to get them saved into a video that I were able to put together myself because, again, I don't have access to the Instagram account. But we're going to be going over those. And then as well, we are going to read a statement from the boyfriend that, again, makes it seem like this is obviously connected, right? So here's the statement from the boyfriend, Ard the Panda. And he goes on to say, "Hey everyone, I just wanted to take a moment to address something personal. As some of you may know, Jalen and I have recently gone our separate ways. Breakups are never easy, and this has been an especially difficult time for me. Despite everything that has happened between us, I genuinely wish her the best moving forward. I know that situations like this, there are always different perspectives. She has her story and I have mine. I'm not here to argue or to get into details, but I do want to say thank you to those who have supported me during this time. It truly means a lot. If anyone has any questions or just wants to check in, feel free to reach out. Again, I appreciate the kindness and understanding," right? And so he's clearly, making a statement, kind of, it seems like maybe trying to get in front of this. I don't really have a dog in this race. I don't know exactly what has happened, but it seems that J-Bay is very, she went through a lot. She is very traumatized, and she is trying to reach out and post and get sympathy for this and get, attention. And I think the attention that she's trying to get is because she's trying to raise money on a GoFundMe. No shade, but one thing about J-Bay, she loves a GoFundMe. But so I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But so what we're going to do now is we are going to be going over these stories that were posted over, I think, a couple days. And you can kind of see the descent into, almost madness. And then there's even more drama that's spliced inside of this kind of like days-long crash out that we're going to be going over. There's drama between other creators in the kind of fat acceptance, health at every size space. Honestly, in the traveling as a bigger woman space, it's a very small space, but I guess there's drama in there. So it's a whole story, right? It's a whole story. There's a lot of stuff going on. So let's get into all of these stories that J-Bay had posted over the past couple days. So these are the stories right here, and these were posted after that GoFundMe and that initial post that we had shared earlier, right? And so that's kind of the timeline of everything that has been going on. So let's go ahead and see what these stories are all about. Again, kind of trigger warning, if you're someone that has dealt with a situation like this might not be the best video for you to watch. But yeah, without further ado, let's keep it going.
I did not want to have to do this. I've tried to figure out what I was meant to do. And today something happened that I cannot allow to happen to anybody else. You know my abuser. I don't know what's going to happen from here, but the police are on their way. They're 15 minutes out. I will let you know when I can what happens, okay? But I need you guys to know I'm safe. And there's lots of things you will learn. Okay? Thank you. Thank you for your understanding. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for giving me the courage and the strength to do this. But most of all, I have to thank God, because I would not be alive had today not played out the way it did. You will understand one day, I promise. But for now, I'm going to be gone, and I don't know how long I'm going to be gone. But please know that I am safe. Hello, everyone.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because the end of that video is like, I'm going to be gone. I don't know for how long. And then she's like right back on her stories. But it's interesting, right? Because the reason that I thought that it was interesting that in that initial video, it seems that the person that's driving her to the hospital is her now, I'm assuming, ex. I think I'm curious what that situation was, like if she was going to try and spin it a different way when she got to the hospital as to what had happened, and maybe they kind of had convinced her like, hey, let's be honest about what actually happened, because that's something that's pretty common, right? With DV situations is, the person will kind of convince you to lie to the authorities and the people that would be taking care of you of what actually happened. I think that's a very interesting kind of part of this story, right?
I'm here. I'm alive. I have a case number now. I'm working on filing a protective order. I'm not getting a whole lot of help. I'm all by myself because I'm stranded. I see that the perpetrator, that I will not name here just for legal purposes and safety purposes, is now falsely spreading information. I'm going to allow the police to handle it.
So that is what I'm assuming is responding to that story that was uploaded, right? Kind of talking about the situation where he said, we're no longer together. I wish her the best.
There's a lot, and I really didn't want it to be this way, but I don't know what else to do. Everyone, I'm safe. I hope. I'm getting a protective order as soon as possible. Sorry. I'm safe for now. I'm trying to keep you guys updated. I'm trying to cover my ass because I literally don't know what I'm doing. I've never been in this situation. And the things you guys are about to find out are things I wanted to take to the grave, but, that was also someone else's plan.
It's very interesting to me, right? Because in a recent video, we were talking about J-Bay and the whole situation and how she started like posting these polyamorous like TikToks that were just so different from what she would normally post. And those TikToks were the first time that I really saw a lot of her ex-boyfriend now, I'm assuming. And they just, I don't know, they just felt a little off. And so I wonder if that was all part of this whole situation where she didn't really want to be doing that. Again, I understand every situation of DV is going to be different, but a lot of times people end up doing things maybe that they wouldn't normally do. And like this whole situation, I want to make it clear, I really do feel for J-Bay, and I'm not trying to sit here and make fun of her. I'm not trying to sit here or anything like that. I'm just trying to share the information of what has been going on, because obviously this is someone that we've talked about quite a bit on the channel, right? And so I do think that it's obviously sad if everything that J-Bay is saying has happened, that's obviously horrible, right? And I just want to make that clear. And so I'm just curious as to what exactly she kind of means as like, I was kind of forced into doing things that maybe I didn't want to do.
And his family is now threatening me. I have all the documentation. I promise you guys will see everything. All right. Well, at this point, everything's on. It's all reported. I don't know what happens from here, but I can tell you that the police department in Kennewick, They got it all on body cam. I will be requesting that footage. It's very bad, and I didn't want to have to post it. I never wanted to have to do this, but when my life was actually threatened, and when you hear the story, you will understand why. It is by the grace of God that I am alive. I've been trying to remain steadfast in this and strong, and I am. I'm very firm in what I believe. I know what happened to me. I have all of it documented. The police department didn't help. I've called every resource they have. They've been very aggressive towards me. You know how the police are towards African American people like myself. I'm not going to tag them. They're
Okay. So, and this is like, oh, dude, this is the thing with J-Bay is that, like, this could be a very serious, and, like, I can understand this is a very serious situation, but, like, come on, man. Like, I mean, maybe I'm heartless, but, like, saying, you know how they are against African American people like myself. Okay. I understand. I don't know exactly what J-Bay's race is, and I'm not going to sit here and speculate, but I don't think anyone is looking at J-Bay thinking, oh, that's an African American woman. You know, like, why even bring that into it, right? Like, I would understand if she, I'm not saying I would agree, but it would make a lot more sense if she said, the police were treating me wrong because I'm a big woman, right? I'm a fat woman and they treat fat women worse, right? Okay, I can see that because J-Bay is a fat woman, and it's very clear that she is a fat woman. But, like, saying African American, again, it's like, why are, it's like, when I see that, it's like, bro, I want to believe what J-Bay is saying, and I'm not saying I don't, but it makes it very hard to be like, yeah, I'm going to stand behind that because I don't want to stand behind that. Like, come on, man.
They're telling me I can't get a protective order till tomorrow. I have to get to the court. But mind you, I've been stranded because perpetrator got our car repoed. I've been living it. Yeah, there's a lot that's going to come out. I guess if his family wants to threaten me, then I have to expose them. And they've been abusive and threatening. And there's proof of it dating back to, sadly, I've had to include every single member of his family that has done anything illegal. I'm not going to speak on that because I'm scared. But if you're in Kennewick, Washington, because at this point, I don't really know how else to get safety. The police are definitely failing me. I've talked to a sergeant. I've talked to multiple officers. Everything I've been asked to do, they have done nothing. And they've questioned me at every turn. They want me to stay in town and testify, but they don't. He said, quote unquote, the police is not a taxi service. So although you're stranded, you'll have to figure out how to get to the courthouse on your own. I didn't record that, but it should be recorded.
I mean, yeah, that it sucks that you're in that situation, but I mean, yeah, the police aren't like Uber. So, like, I don't really, again, I can understand being frustrated, but I also, you can't expect, again, this is the thing with J-Bay that we've talked about a lot, is like, you can't expect the whole world to revolve around you, right? Like, you have to figure some stuff out for yourself. And, like, it seems that she's working on it, but again, I can understand being frustrated about the situation, but it's the need to publicly share it out and then, like, try to be like, everyone needs to fix this for me, right? See, everyone is against me. It's like, no, this is just life, right? These are things that everyone deals with that we have to figure out. Everyone has to figure out for themselves, right? There's plenty of people that don't have access to a car, that they have to figure out public transportation to get to work every day and to get to school. And, like, that's just how it is. That's life. That's how things are, you know, like, or people have to get Ubers for themselves. Yeah, it's more expensive. There you go. Okay, then maybe public transportation is a better option. Like, I'm not saying that it's fun and that you're like, it's enjoyable to be in that situation, but it's this constant need of like, I'm going to call this out because these people are treating me poorly. It's not the people that are treating you poorly. It's just, that's what happens when you're in a situation like this and you don't have access to a car. You can't just be like, police, take me here and here. Like, I don't know. Like, that's just whatever.
Ordered my lawyer. I'm sure we'll get it all taken care of. But because it's Sunday, you know how that goes. If I am not alive tomorrow, everything is in my phone. I'm sorry to have to traumatize you this way. I wish it wasn't this way. I really do. I will explain everything. There will be a legal proceeding. They want me to testify. They've already made very clear where they stand and on what I've told them. I'm sorry, everyone. And I feel bad for him because I'm brainwashed because of him. Look, I look a little bit rough. Okay, I get it. But you guys, you can probably understand, right? Once you hear what happened, oh my gosh. But now that the truth is out to the police, I'm not saying anything. I'm going to let the police and the universe handle whatever it is they need to handle. This family knows what they did to me, and now the whole world will know what they did to me. I'm protected, And I need you all to know that I'm okay.
I mean, I am genuinely curious what happened, right? Because it's obviously very cryptic. Like, we don't know for sure. She says that there's stuff that happened on body camera, but then, like, we see the first clip, the first video was her being driven to, I'm assuming, to the hospital. I'm pretty sure being driven by what it seems like she's claiming was the perpetrator. I don't know. It's all very, like, what exactly happened? We don't know, right? That's kind of the whole thing.
I'm safe. I'm sound. And whatever happened in this room today, I will share with you one day. But just know that this is not a fight I'm fighting alone. And just know that I'm okay. And I'm more free and more safe than I have ever been. And you will come to know that. I will share my testimony with you. You will know that. And I will fight for every single one of you. And every single one of you that's helped me, you will be helped tenfold. And my actions don't have to... You can watch my actions. My words mean nothing. But you just pay attention, okay?
So, like, I think it's clear she's going through something, because the way that she's speaking here, it's literally like how someone sounds when they are just kind of frazzled and there's so much going on and they're trying to, like, kind of like just formulate a sentence. The sentence doesn't really make much sense. That's kind of what I'm getting off of this. Almost like, again, I'm not saying that this is what's happening, but it sounds like someone who is on copious amounts of pharmaceutical things that maybe you shouldn't be on. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. I'm not saying that that's happening, but it's like, what are you saying here? I don't really fully understand. Like, it seems like it's important, but it's like, I don't really know what's going on, right? And so I'm assuming that you can sound the same when you're going through a lot of trauma, right? The adrenaline's going to be spiking through you. You're saying a bunch of words, not really making much sense, but like, it's just very hard to understand. And so, like, I can understand people that were like friends of hers being concerned about what exactly is going on. Like, what is happening right now? And why are you posting all of this on social media, right? Like, it would make sense, right?
Man, this stuff really comes in waves. It really does. And so I'm just going to be honest, since I've had already called the police, and I mean, everything's out. What's been said has been said. I'm waiting on a call back from the non-duty or an off-duty officer. I'm so sorry. I finally changed my clothes. I don't feel safe enough to take a shower. Pretty scared. I kind of wish someone could come here and be with me.
I think that really explains a lot of it, right? She's clearly alone. It doesn't seem like she has anyone outside of, it seemed like, her ex-partner, right? And maybe their family. And again, that's very common in a DV situation, right? You end up getting cut off of everyone else in your life. And so I can understand, like, the need to reach out to social media as, like, that friend. But at the same time, like, social media is not just a random friend, right? This is hundreds of thousands of people, at least thousands of people that you're just kind of spewing this out to. And most of them aren't going to be able to do much. And it's just usually not the best way to go about this. I think it's one thing to make a GoFundMe and be like, hey, this is the whole situation. Support if you can. But then to try and explain over, hours and hours, like, people aren't going to get the whole story. They're going to be messaging what's going on, and that's going to stress you out even more. I just think that this is not the best way to deal with a situation like that, right?
There's literally multiple beds. I mean, if someone could come here and take myself somewhere else, that'd be great. Unfortunately, the GoFundMe money, for some reason, I don't know. I don't want to say anything allegedly, but things are odd on my end, to say the least.
So I'm curious what she means by that, right? Things are odd on my end, to say the least. It almost sounds like she's, like, saying, like, the money isn't getting to her and maybe someone's, like, funneling it out. I don't think that that's happening, but that seems, again, it's like all of these accusations that it just seems like someone that's kind of paranoid, right?
And yeah, I don't want to be at this hotel anymore. I do not feel safe. I just called them non-emergency. I almost just called 911 again, and just strange things happening. Like, KPD is going to have a lot of explaining to do. Let's just say that. Good morning, everyone. Everybody, I don't know what time it is where you are. Here in Washington State, it's 2:09 in the morning.
So again, it's 2:09 in the morning and she's still doing this, right? So clearly someone in distress, right?
I needed to let y'all know, because someone told me, I got to tell you, I'm okay. I know it doesn't make a damn bit of sense to y'all. I get it. It will one day. I promise. Okay, but I can't share anything right now. But what I do need you to know is you guys saved my life. You guys rallied around me, and you gave me the courage to be strong. Not for me, but for all of you, and for survivors everywhere. Now, I don't know what everything's going to look like. I have no idea what's happening. I'm not going to comment on anything. Okay? I don't know what you're going to find out. I don't know what you're going to find out. And I apologize that I wasn't honest with you, but you'll understand, I promise. And even if you don't, that's okay. Even if you think, hey, this...
All right, so this is when it gets kind of interesting, right? And so this is a DM that J-Bay shared to her story that was from someone else that was probably kind of concerned, right? Someone that was friends with J-Bay, or at least friendly at some point, right? And so she goes on to tag FGT Tours, Froman Network with Love, or Froman Net with a Net with Love, Fat Girls Traveling, right? So this is a mutual friend of hers in the fat acceptance movement that also makes, like, you know, fat girl travels content, right? It seems that they have a website where there's a blog that I think J-Bay herself had done some like articles for. So they had, and she was paid for those articles, right? So there's some history there, which made it so she wanted to send J-Bay a message, because again, she's seeing all of these stories that we just saw in succession and being like, what is happening, right? And so she goes on to write them. Hey, boo. This is her writing to J-Bay, right? Hey, boo, I see you going through it. I'm sending you a big hug and asking you to put the phone down. You're sharing too much, babe. I know you don't want to feel like you're going through stuff alone, but you are. That's life. When shit hits the fan, we realize that the only one who will take care of us is us. I know we're not super close, but as someone in community with you and someone that has been through a lot, everything is not for public consumption, especially while you're in it. Some stuff could be just a text that says, is anyone available in X area on X day? But watching your stories, it seems like you're spiraling, babe. Please put the phone down. I love you. Right? So this is someone that is trying to help. Now, again, I could understand J-Bay being like, man, this kind of like hurt my feelings. You can maybe be like, hey, I understand where you're coming from, and just leave it there and be like, I'm not going to listen to what you're saying, but cool. That's not what happened. So this really, really bothered J-Bay, which sent her into another spiral inside of the spiral. And she just kind of put this person on blast, as you can see here, right? This is on her story to thousands of people, right? So she is calling this person out by just simply posting this story. So let's continue to see how she responds to this.
Hey everyone, this is Jalen Cheney. I am not under duress anymore. The police have been contacted. I'm actually in refuge and I'm safe.
It's interesting, the change in even just how she sounds, right? From the first videos that we were watching to now, it seems like she has now decided, okay, now let me put on some sort of kind of mask to be like, I'm actually fine, and like I'm good, and so don't even worry about it, right? Because it seems like that's a response to be like, I'm not spiraling, I'm fine, everything's fine. I don't like, why would you even be worried about that? But and then she's going to call someone out, right?
However, there are some community members I'm going to have to tell you about when I do come back. And Annette Richmond of Fat Girls Traveling and Fat Girls Travel and Trips, who I've been associated with in the past, I need you to know publicly, I don't associate with her. She knows what she said to me. She knows what she accused me of. I have proof. I'm not going to post it. I've asked her to please take off my writing as a contributor.
So I don't know exactly what that is in response to, because she did post the message that was sent to her on her stories. Maybe there's more and they like got into a huge argument. That certainly is possible, right? That we don't know about. But from what we saw on the story, I can understand maybe being like, like being annoyed that someone sent that to you if you're not that close with them. Fair enough, right? But it didn't seem like it was anything over the top where she was saying, like, how dare you post this? This is ridiculous, blah, blah. She was just, it seemed like at least was trying to look out for someone, regardless of if that was taken well or not. It doesn't seem like the what was sent to J-Bay was anything like insane. Like, I can't believe she would say that to me, right?
For her, because it's been very, 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 very performative inclusivity. You guys are up to make your own decision. I will be blocking her. It's public. I have it screen recorded, so I'm just letting you know. As of now, I'm safe. I need no help, but I am going to be taking a break. per Annette's instruction, apparently, because I'm spiraling, trying to survive. I know everybody else has reached out. It's sad that Annette's this way, but it's okay because I have proof. So I'm going to be taking a break from now, but I love you all so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
So here she has a bunch of stories kind of showing that she's blocking this person, right? That's kind of what's going on here. And so she goes on and blocks them, restricts them or whatever. Again, it's just funny because she says what this person was doing is performative, but this seems pretty performative to me. But again, that's just my opinion. It's just why do you need to do this?
Many of you are concerned for me, okay?
Publicly, I don't know, but let's continue.
Okay, my name is Jalen Cheney. The police know where I am. My perpetrator and his whole family will be, I'm going to let God do his work. But what I will not stand for are these community members that are performatively inclusive. Annette has been that way since day one. I have tagged.
That's so interesting, right? So she says Annette has been this way since day one, but she also did write for her blog. And so did you actually know that she was performative from day one? And if so, why would you still consider to want to work with that person, right? And so it's always there's this tangled web that is being weaved and you don't know what's really true. And it seems like maybe at some point J-Bay decided that this Annette person was performative and wanted to not work with them anymore. And maybe this was the kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. But again, it's with J-Bay, there's always this next level where things get brought to that it's why do you have to always turn everything up to 11? Why not just tell the truth? And yeah, maybe there will be some people that don't side with you, but it's almost like she feels the need to try and make everyone out to be the evil villain, Spider-Man type of villain that is just completely evil and there's no good about them at all. When instead, hey, maybe you just say what actually happened and there'll be some people that disagree with you, but maybe there'll be some people that agree with you, right? With this, if you truly felt that she was performative the entire time and she's always been this conniving person, why would you work with her in the past? Why would you decide to do that, right? And so, and again, if it's because I was getting paid, then that obviously brings your entire, your brand and what you stand for, it kind of calls it into question because are you just, how easy is it to buy J-Bay's opinion and how she feels about a thing, right? Because if you're down to write for this person's website who you are saying from the beginning, this person has been performative and she shouldn't have been trusted from the beginning, but then you decided to work with her, well, then why would you do that, right?
Sure. I have a lawyer. I'm ready to take her to court. She's done many things that are actually super unethical, and I didn't want to have to take it this way, but I will not be disrespected as a survivor, and especially as someone who claims to be a survivor in our community who uplifted her and helped save her life, supposedly. I know that I've seen her caught in some lies, and it's really sad. In no way am I trying to be threatening, but I will not be talked to that way.
I mean, that definitely seems very threatening to me. You can say I'm not trying to be threatening, but everything that you're saying, I'm going to sue you, but I'm not trying to threaten you or anything. Well, then what are you doing?
And you can see how condescending and gross she is, and that speaks for itself. Do I support her? Absolutely not. You know who I do support, though, is Fat Girls Travel Too. And there'll be more to come on that.
Fat Girls Travel Too. So that's a different page? I'm sorry. It's just come on. You guys couldn't be a little bit at least be a little, try to be kind of creative, You're oh, I like that name. Let me just put a 2 on in the end and there we go.
But they have been here for me through and through, and they are women of God. And I have been trying to disassociate, but this is obviously the last straw for me with Fat Girls Traveling. I feel ashamed that I wrote for them. And they, honestly, many of you can believe whatever you want. I don't have to speak at all. I'm actually going to be taking a social media break now for the first time ever because I've been in captivity for 28 years, whether you know it or not. I will be ready to speak, and when I do, my truth will be told. It's been recorded on the police footage. I've recorded every single thing Annette's ever done. Everyone that has pretended to be for this community.
So that's so interesting, right? So she's saying, I have recorded everything that Annette's ever done. So again, it just this is the perfect example. And this is what we've seen so much with people that were part of the fat acceptance community at one point and then they left, is that it feels like this cult, honestly, right? That's what a lot of people say is if you start to even slightly disagree with what is the popular narrative, you will be torn apart, right? And then it's you're just completely eviscerated, and it's well, you don't agree with the popular thing and now everyone hates you, right? And then we've actually been keeping tabs on everything you've done, and we have all the receipts, and we actually hated you from the start, and we couldn't wait to get rid of you, right? That's the way that it seems. And that's why, in my opinion, the whole fat acceptance or like health at every size movement, so much of it has crumbled is because it's built on, oh, we accept everyone and we're all here for each other. But then immediately it's like they just start attacking each other. And this is what happens, right? It's very, very interesting.
And as not, whether they know it or not, God had a plan and they will be exposed. And I don't have to say a damn thing. But this will be the last message you see from me for I don't know how long. But please know I'm safe. As soon as I have enough funds to cover what I need, I will be turning off the donations to the GoFundMe. And I won't.
So basically, you know, if you want to donate to the GoFundMe, it's still open.
Be posting about it anymore. I just needed to get safety. And it's looking like I have more than enough of that. And I have support from people who are truly inclusive and don't pretend to be something they're not. I won't be speaking to Annette ever again. Feel free to do whatever you need to do, but just know that I don't support that group. I never did, and I never will again. They paid me for my work, and that is the only reason I wrote for them. And more.
So she says they paid me for my work, and that's the only reason I wrote for them. So you, as you were writing for them, what did you like? I actually hate this blog, but I'm gonna write for them because they're paying me. You know, like. I'm so curious as to what the behind the scenes are. I would love this Annette woman would come out and kind of share her experience because I think that would be very interesting.
More to come on that later. Love you guys.
But that's the entire kind of video. That was the last story that we were able to see from J-Bay about this whole situation. So that's pretty much everything that has gone on. She hasn't posted, from what we could tell, on social media since, you know, she said that she was going to be taking a break. I am genuinely curious what actually has happened with J-Bay. It's always kind of an interesting situation because I do think that something terrible could have happened, but she could also maybe not be handling it in the best situation. But you know, only time will tell, I think, with everything that's gone on. I'm genuinely curious what y'all think down in the comment section down below. I think it would be really interesting to hear some of your opinions on what could have happened or what what you think might have happened. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to the end, please leave a comment or a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time. All right, peace.